Hello and welcome to the lecture series on multiple choice questions. In today's class, I'll be dealing with questions with respect to microeconomics, which is the economics general paper for SYBA as well as MA part 1. So let's get started. The first question is, elasticity is a measure of degree of what? Elasticity is a measure of degree of what? And the underlying options are A, responsiveness, B, responsibility, C, resources, and D, none of the above. So here the correct answer is elasticity is always a measure of degree of responsiveness. This degree of responsiveness is with respect to the underlying change in quantity because of the underlying change in the price of that particular commodity which we are taking into account. So here option A is the correct answer, which is elasticity is a measure of degree of responsiveness. I hope this question is pretty much clear. Let us now move to the next question, which is talking about the types of elasticities of demand. Obviously, this is elasticities of demand, and therefore let us look at the questions. Let us look at the options rather. The first option is price, the second is income, the third is cross, and last is all of the above. So which of these are types of elasticities of demand? Rather, all these three are types of elasticities of demand, that is price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. Price elasticity is talking about the underlying change or the impact of underlying change in price on the quantity demanded, underlying change in consumers' income on quantity demanded, and cross is talking about the underlying change in the quantity demanded of good X due to change in price of good Y. So therefore all these three things are in a sense types of elasticities of demand. Therefore option D, all of the above, is the correct answer to this particular question. Let us now take into account price elasticity, because in this class I'll be dealing with respect to price elasticity. In the next class we will talk about income and cross. So let us look at the first question. What do you mean by price elasticity of demand? What do you mean by price elasticity of demand? And the underlying options: A, responsiveness of quantity demanded of a good to change, this delta is talking about change in price of that good. Responsiveness of quantity demanded of a good to change in income of the consumer. Responsiveness of consumer's taste, and none of the above. So here the correct answer is price elasticity of demand is the responsiveness of quantity demanded of a good to change in its price, and therefore option A is the correct answer. Let us look at this mathematically. Let us assume that the price of the commodity is denoted by P and the quantity is denoted by Q. So price elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded of good with respect to percentage change in price of that good. So this is what price elasticity is capturing: the responsiveness of change in the responsiveness of quantity demanded towards the underlying change in price. So this is what option A is talking about. I hope this for the third question with respect to price elasticity is pretty much clear. Let us now move to the next question, which is talking about the formula for price elasticity is what, and the underlying options are delta Q by delta P into P by Q, delta Q by delta P into Y by P, delta Q by delta P into Q by P, and none of the above. To understand this question, let us elaborate this. Now here I am looking at percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price. Now mathematically I am going to write this as, now this is price elasticity of demand, this percentage, this has to be written as change in quantity divided by original quantity into 100. This entire percent is written like this: percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price. So change in price divided by original price into 100. So this is now percentage change in quantity demanded mathematically, percentage change in price. Now we see that you can cancel hundreds here, and this becomes inverse when it goes in the numerator. So here from this what I am getting is delta Q divided by Q into, this becomes inverse, so P will go here and delta P will come down, so it becomes like this. Now just rearranging these two, that means what I am going to do is delta P I will take here and Q I will take here. So this is delta Q divided by delta P into P by Q. So this is the actual formula or mathematical way of denoting elasticity or price elasticity of demand. So price elasticity of demand is delta Q divided by delta P into P by Q. That means change quantity divided by change price into original price divided by original quantity. So this ratio P by Q is talking about the originals, and this Q delta Q by delta P is talking about the changed. So let us look at which option is satisfied here. So delta Q by delta P into P by Q. This is rather different, that is Q by P, which is wrong, because here we have seen mathematically how you derive this. So delta Q divided by delta P into P by Q. So therefore option A is the formula for price elasticity. So here the formula is delta Q divided by delta P into P by Q. This is the formula for price elasticity of demand. I hope this is pretty much clear. Here I have given the entire explanation. Now in general terms, how do you write price elasticity of demand? So the next question is price elasticity of demand is given by dash. So percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price, percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in income, percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in taste, none of the above. So here we have seen in general terms I write price elasticity as percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price, and here option A is satisfying that condition. So therefore option A, percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price, is the correct answer to this particular question. Let us now move to the next question, which is talking about in case of perfectly inelastic demand. Here you have to pay attention, it is talking about perfectly inelastic demand. Price elasticity is equal to how much? Price elasticity is equal to how much? So here the underlying options are option A is 1, option B is 0, option C is infinity, option D is none of the above. Perfectly inelastic demand, that means whatever change is there in terms of price, the quantity demanded is going to be same, one and the same. So let us now look at that mathematically, how that is, or rather graphically how that is going to happen. So this is the quantity demanded, okay, on x-axis, and this is the price on y-axis. Now here perfectly inelastic demand, that means whatever there is a change in price, my quantity demanded is going to remain the same, and here the curve is going to look like this. That means the quantity demanded is going to be this, whatever the change in price, earlier price was P1, now it is P2, now it is P3, now it is P4. So the prices of the goods are of that particular good is changing, the price is changing, but the quantity demanded is remaining same. That means in our usual formula, P is equal to, our price elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price. This segment is changing, but this is remaining same. That means this is 0 divided by whatever change in percentage change in price. Anything 0 divided by anything is 0. So therefore in case of perfectly inelastic demand, the graph is going to look like this, and the value of elasticity is always going to be equal to 0, because there is no change in quantity, the quantity is remaining the same, there is only change in price. I hope this question is pretty much clear. Let us now move to the next question, in which we are looking at perfectly elastic demand. Now perfectly elastic demand, now it is the inverse of this condition, it is the inverse of this condition. Now what is going to happen is, now again on x-axis we are looking at quantity demanded, on y-axis I am looking at the price. Now perfectly elastic demand, now what is happening is the price is remaining constant, but my demand is changing. Quantity demanded was Q1, then Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5, but underlying price remains the same. That means in this ratio now, what is going to be 0? Percentage change in quantity is going to be there, but this is going to be 0, and this is not possible. So it is going to be infinity, not defined. Yeah, so the graph is going to look like this, and the value is going to be infinity. When it is perfectly elastic demand, price is going to remain constant, quantity is going to change, and as a result of this our ratio is going to look like this. So anything divided by 0 is going to give me obviously infinity, because it is not defined. So therefore infinity is the correct answer to this question. Now there is a case for something called as unit elasticity. Now unit elasticity means that the value unit means whether it is 1, 0, infinity, none of the above. Now we know the 0 case wherein perfectly inelastic demand. In case of infinity it is perfectly elastic demand. In case of unit elasticity this is going to be 1, and you have to remember that that means percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price is going to be 1. The value of this ratio is going to be 1. For this value of ratio to be equal to 1, these changes have to be equal. That means it is going to be 2% change in quantity because of 2% change in price. Then and then only the ratio can be equal to 1. So that means now the percentage change in price as well as the percentage change in quantity are going to be the same when I am talking about unit elasticity of demand, because I am more interested in the ratio to be equal to 1, and the ratio to be equal to 1, the underlying changes in both of these have to be the same. It has to be the same, otherwise the ratio cannot be equal to 1, and therefore option A, in case of unit elasticity of demand, the elasticity of demand is equal to 1. So I hope this is pretty much clear. So EP is equal to 1 in case of unit elasticity of demand. I hope this question is pretty much clear. Let us now move to the next question, which is talking about in case of relatively inelastic demand. In case of relatively inelastic demand, EP is always less than, EP is always less than 1. The price elasticity, the value of price elasticity is always less than 1 in case of inelastic demand. In case of relatively elastic demand, EP is always greater than 1. Elasticity of price is always greater than 1. Now when this is going to happen, when price elasticity is going to be less than 1, in which case it is going to be less than 1? It is going to be less than 1 when the underlying change in price is greater as compared to the underlying change in quantity demanded. Let us assume that the underlying change in price is 2, but the underlying change in quantity is 1. So this is going to give me 0.5. So relatively inelastic demand, EP is less than 1. Yeah, 0.5 obviously is less than 1. So in case of relatively inelastic demand, the underlying change in price is higher as compared to the underlying change in the quantity demanded, and therefore the ratio, the value of ratio becomes 0.5, which is obviously less than 1. On the contrary, in relatively elastic demand, here it is the inverse, because here elasticity or price elasticity is greater than 1. That means the underlying change which is going to happen in price is going to be less as compared to the change which is going to be reflected in quantity demanded. That means any slight change in price is going to have more impact on quantity demanded. That means price changed by 1, but quantity demanded changed by 2, and therefore this ratio is going to be equal to 2 divided by 1 is 2, which is obviously greater than 1, and therefore elasticity or price elasticity in case of relatively elastic demand is going to be greater than 1, and therefore option B is the correct answer. So here we have talked about what is elasticity, then we have seen the types of elasticity, then we move towards something called as price elasticity of demand, then we have seen the mathematical formula, rather we have derived the mathematical formula of this, then we move towards how you can write it in simple terms, that is percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price. Thereafter we move towards the first type of price elasticity of demand, wherein there is perfectly inelastic demand and the value of price elasticity is equal to 0. That means quantity demanded remains the same, that means the price changes are n, but the quantity demanded remains the same, perfectly inelastic demand. Thereafter we move towards something called as perfectly elastic demand. Here the price was same, but the quantity demanded was changing, and therefore the value of EP or elasticity or price elasticity is infinity. Thereafter we move towards something called as, in case of unit elasticity, I told you the percentage changes in both the things, that is in terms of price as well as quantity, are going to be the same, and that is why the value is going to be unit or 1. Thereafter we move towards something called as relatively inelastic as well as relatively elastic demand. So here the elasticity value is going to be less than 1, here it is going to be greater than 1. So I hope these types of price elasticities of demand, rather the concept of elasticity and price elasticity of demand is pretty much clear. In the next class, I'll take up something called as income elasticity of demand. So please stay tuned for more. Thank you.